Have you ever felt that there is something inside you, a force, a power, that if activated correctly could unleash unimaginable wealth? Have you ever felt that you are very close to achieving everything you have ever dreamed of, but for some invisible reason you remain stuck, blocked, stagnant? Let me tell you something revealing. There is a key, kept through generations, that can unlock your financial, emotional, and spiritual life, putting you on the path to true abundance. And this key is no secret. It is right before your eyes, accessible to anyone willing to understand and apply its extraordinary power. Today, in this transformative conversation, I will give you that key. I won't just talk about methods or techniques, but about universal principles that govern success. Principles that I have personally used to build my industrial empire and become one of the richest and most influential men in history. These principles, like the verses of a powerful psalm that I will reveal, have the power to unleash real, tangible wealth within you. If you are ready for this transformative journey, let me tell you, your life will never be the same after this video. You are not here by chance. You have been guided here by something much greater than yourself. This is your turning point. Can you feel it? I certainly can. Now, before we go any further into this revelation, if you are truly determined to radically change your financial reality, you already know that you need to be connected to this energy of constant transformation. Join the thousands of people who have already taken this decisive step toward wealth and absolute success. Mark my words, true wealth is not a luxury. It is a moral obligation. Understand this. The man who dies rich, without wisely distributing his fortune, dies in deep disgrace. Wealth must serve a greater purpose. It must be a force that drives progress and collective well-being. This is the essence of the psalm I will talk about today. It is a true spiritual and practical manifesto on how to manage your life and your fortune with a clear and profound purpose. You may be wondering, what is this powerful psalm? Well, I am talking about Psalm 112, and why this psalm? Because it is more than a collection of beautiful words or inspiring verses. It is a map, a complete roadmap for anyone who wants not only to accumulate wealth, but to make it lasting, meaningful, and widely shared. Let me delve a little deeper into this concept before revealing exactly how you will use the power of this psalm to unlock your wealth. You need to understand something essential about true prosperity. It never comes from selfishness. It never grows stronger in isolation. On the contrary, it grows through generosity, collective intelligence, and the ability to share and multiply resources. Throughout my life, I have learned that the secret to a sustainable empire is to lift others up as you rise. It is the only way to ensure that your empire remains strong long after you are gone. But there is one crucial detail here. To truly unlock the potential of this psalm, you need to make a clear and conscious choice right now. Are you willing to take complete control of your emotions, your mindset, and your financial decisions? Are you willing to leave behind the limiting habits and thoughts that have prevented you from achieving the wealth you deserve? You see, I come from a humble background, from a small Scottish village. There was nothing in my childhood to indicate that I would become one of the richest and most influential men in the world. But there was something crucial that changed everything for me. An absolute and irrevocable decision. The decision to master my mind, my habits, and my emotions. To govern myself before trying to govern businesses or other people. This is exactly the power of Psalm 112. It teaches not only how to become rich, but how to sustain that wealth through intelligent and strategic management of emotions and decisions. The text clearly states that the righteous man, the one who truly prospers, does not fear bad news, because his heart is steadfast and confident. That steadfast heart, that absolute confidence in oneself and one's principles, is what separates those who accumulate temporary wealth from those who build empires that last for generations. I'll tell you something personal. When I started my journey, I worked tirelessly, taught myself to read at the Pittsburgh Public Library, surrounded by books that taught me the deepest secrets of wealth. In those books, I found words that changed my life, just as I am now sharing with you, words that could change yours. Psalm 112 also says something fundamental about generosity. Those who distribute their wealth generously will always have more. This may seem contradictory at first glance, especially in a world that insists you must accumulate every penny. But, I assure you, from my own experience and from the stories of hundreds of successful people I have met throughout my life, the more you distribute wisely, the more you receive back in multiplied abundance. This principle never fails, and if you are facing financial difficulties right now, it is precisely now that you should apply this wisdom. Don't wait to accumulate before you give. Start giving what you can now, whether it's financial resources, time, or knowledge. True wealth always begins with a heart willing to give, even if that giving starts small. Wealth will grow in direct proportion to your willingness to contribute to the progress of those around you. I want you to think deeply about this, because it is exactly the kind of decision that defines your financial destiny. Will you be the kind of person who accumulates wealth that quickly disappears, or the kind who builds a solid, lasting, and deeply rewarding legacy? The choice is yours, but allow me to advise you as someone who has walked this path and seen the true nature of wealth. If you are willing to make that choice now, you are ready for what I am about to reveal next. Let's explore together how to use the practical power of Psalm 112 to unlock your financial life and build a solid and generous empire. Get ready, because from this moment on, you will embark on a journey that will radically change your financial, emotional, and spiritual reality. But be alert. You need to be determined and committed to applying what I am about to reveal. If you make that commitment to me now, you will not just be listening to a message. You will be rewriting your future. Now that you understand that true wealth comes from a steadfast mind and generous decisions, we need to dive deep into the practical power that Psalm 112 can have in your financial and personal life. I want you to understand something very clearly. Everything you are experiencing today, your current financial situation, your challenges, your difficulties, are the direct result of decisions made in the past. There is no luck or bad luck, only direct consequences of what you have chosen to believe, do, and maintain as a habit. Look at Psalm 112 with practical eyes, the eyes of someone seeking clear answers and proven strategies to become rich, not only in money but in purpose and personal satisfaction. The first verse establishes an indisputable truth. Blessed is the man who fears the Lord and delights in his commandments. Don't view this phrase with a merely religious or distant perspective. Understand it deeply, with the practical insight of a man who built empires. To fear the Lord means to recognize universal principles greater than yourself, principles that govern the natural abundance of life. When you align your actions and decisions with these principles, you activate an infallible law of return and multiplication. This is how the universe works. All wealth, all sustainable prosperity, is born out of absolute respect for the universal laws of life. You don't challenge these laws, you understand them, accept them, and use them to your advantage. But what are these commandments, if not practical principles that guarantee true abundance? Let me give you a direct example from my own life. From a young age, I learned the absolute importance of operational efficiency. This is a universal law. Be efficient, avoid waste, and wealth will naturally flow to you. When I started my career in the steel industry, I realized that I needed to master every step of the production process. This led me to vertical control of the production chain, where I controlled everything from the iron mines to the trains and ships that carried my steel to the world market. You see, I didn't just respect this law of efficiency, I lived by it, breathed it every day, obsessively. It was my devotion. As a result, I built a fortune that still serves human progress today. This is not luck, it is applied science. It is practical wisdom. It is exactly what the psalm says when it states that the descendants of the righteous will be powerful on earth, and the generation of the righteous will be blessed. Notice how the following verse further clarifies this practical idea. In his house is prosperity and wealth, and his righteousness endures forever. Righteousness here is not just doing what is right, but also economic and social justice. Throughout my life, I have understood that I could only truly be successful if my wealth brought tangible benefits to thousands of people. Not just employees, but their families, their communities, their next generations. Understand this clearly. A fortune built on the exploitation of others will never last. Sooner or later, it falls apart. On the other hand, wealth created with justice, generosity, and strategic intelligence remains forever. This is the basis of my gospel of wealth. Fortune is a responsibility, and the rich man is only the temporary guardian of resources that should serve the advancement of humanity. How can you apply this to your life today? Start right now by asking yourself how your actions, your business, and your financial decisions are truly benefiting the people around you. This includes customers, employees, partners, and even competitors. Yes, competitors too, because the truly wealthy man does not fear competition. He learns from it, improves with it, and grows through it. Here is another essential point. In Psalm 112, light dawns for the righteous. Light dawns also for those who have right in their hearts. Here is one of the most important lessons I have learned in my life as an entrepreneur and philanthropist. In the greatest crises, in the darkest hours, is where the greatest opportunities for growth are found. Every solid empire is born in difficult times. The true leader, the true man of wealth, sees opportunities where others see only problems. When the steel market entered a severe crisis, many competitors gave up, closed their doors, or sold their businesses. I did exactly the opposite. I invested heavily in technological innovation, continuous improvement, and even greater operational efficiency. The result, I emerged from these crises even stronger, consolidating an empire that had seemed impossible before. This is exactly what the psalm is saying. In the midst of difficulties, the righteous not only survive, they thrive. They thrive because they have a generous heart, but also a strategic and efficient mind. They thrive because they understand that true wealth comes from the intelligent management of emotions, decisions, and opportunities that arise in the most critical moments. Another important point in the psalm concerns absolute trust. He does not fear bad news. His heart is steadfast, trusting in the Lord. If you want to be truly rich, you need to learn to control your emotions completely. A man who does not govern himself will never govern businesses or people effectively. A cool head in decisive moments is not only desirable, it is mandatory. How many businesses fail not because of a lack of capital or opportunity, but because their leaders are unable to remain calm and rational in the face of crisis? Many, believe me. If you want to prosper sustainably, you need to master this skill immediately. It is not just useful, it is essential. I'll tell you something fundamental here. I have never allowed fear or anxiety to guide my decisions. I have always decided based on clear, rational, and strategic principles. I have always kept my heart steady and my mind cool, even in moments when everything seemed lost. That is the stance you need to take right now. Now, I want to extend a clear and explicit invitation to you, because this is a crucial moment for your transformation. Look at your current financial situation, face it without fear or shame, and now, make a firm and definitive decision. Are you really willing to apply these principles in your life? Are you ready to leave behind all limiting thoughts, all fear, all hesitation? I want to hear from you right now in the comments. Write with absolute conviction and clarity, I am ready to master my wealth through Psalm 112. Don't do it for me. Do it for yourself, for your future, for the real and lasting wealth you deserve. Take this step now, and together we will continue the journey that will permanently change your financial emotional, and spiritual life. Now, let's dive deeper into the practical and strategic application of Psalm 112 and how exactly you can activate each principle described in it. To release your wealth once and for all, look again at what the psalm says. The righteous man distributes generously, lends liberally, and conducts his business with justice. You see, what appears to be merely an ethical or moral principle is actually a universal and deeply strategic principle for building solid, sustainable wealth. Let me be even more direct with you. If you really want to prosper, you need to learn how to make money circulate intelligently and generously. What does that mean exactly in practice? It means that the more you invest in people, in talent, in education, in projects with real potential for impact, the more wealth will return to you multiplied. And it's not just about money directly. Every dollar invested in the right people and solid projects is like a seed that will bear exponential fruit. But pay attention here. You need to be extremely strategic and smart in how you distribute and invest your resources. I'm not talking about indiscriminate charity, quite the contrary. I'm talking about investing strategically in areas that not only generate financial returns, but social, emotional, and spiritual returns. For example, in my life, I have dedicated a large part of my resources to building public libraries. Why did I choose this? Because I clearly understood that the greatest return I could get would not only be immediate financial gain, but a profound and permanent transformation in the lives of thousands of people through education. Every individual who has had access to free knowledge has become a more productive, more creative, more entrepreneurial citizen. Ultimately, these more productive citizens helped create a richer society, from which my own businesses benefited greatly. This is exactly the strategy you should apply today in your business and personal investments. If you are an entrepreneur, ask yourself how you can directly improve the lives of your employees and customers in practical ways. Don't be content with just selling products or services. Go further and ask yourself, how can I educate, empower, and inspire these people through my business? How can my success directly contribute to their success and progress? Take a close look at another profound lesson in Psalm 112. They shall never be moved. The righteous shall be remembered forever. Let me explain how this phrase works in the real world of business and practical wealth. Reputation is wealth. And I'm not just talking about popularity or status here. Real reputation, built on concrete actions of integrity, generosity, and fairness, is perhaps the most valuable asset you can possess. Throughout my career, I have witnessed several economic and business crises, and I can say with absolute certainty, the businesses and leaders that survive and thrive in the long run are always those that have built a solid reputation based on trust, integrity, and strategic generosity. In difficult times, when markets shrink and crises arise, those with a solid reputation remain steadfast. Customers, partners, and employees trust you, remain loyal, and continue to believe in you even in the most difficult times. This is exactly the stability described in Psalm 112. It does not come from good products or services alone. It comes from a solid character and reputation, built through concrete and continuous actions of justice and generosity. Now, I want to tell you something crucial about leadership and strategic management. Psalm 112 also mentions that the righteous man has his heart set on his faith, and he does not fear until he has seen his desire fulfilled. Take note, in the business world, adversaries are not just external competitors. Most of the time, the greatest adversaries you will face will be inside your own mind. Fear, anxiety, insecurity, procrastination. I want you to understand this clearly. To be a true leader, to truly run a business and build solid wealth, you must first defeat your internal adversaries. You must have an absolutely disciplined, rational, and strategic mind. You must learn to make difficult decisions without hesitation, to stand firm in your convictions even in the face of the greatest storms, During the construction of my industrial empire, I faced countless crises that could easily have destroyed everything I had built: strikes, financial crises, international trade disputes. At each of these critical moments, the fundamental difference that determined my victory was one: I had absolute control over my emotions and decisions. I never hesitated, never allowed doubt or fear to paralyze my actions. My heart was always steadfast and my mind clear, aligned with a purpose much greater than just accumulating money. I want you to do this right now. Clearly identify who your internal adversaries are. What thoughts, what emotions are sabotaging your success today? Right now, you need to start defeating them with mental and emotional discipline. There is no financial success without absolute emotional mastery. And that brings me directly to the next essential principle of this psalm: He distributes his wealth to the poor. His righteousness endures forever. His power is exalted in honor. Here we have something fundamental that you can never forget. Power and honor are direct results of your ability to lead with strategic generosity. True wealth, the kind that lasts, is not measured solely by your bank account, but by your real ability to positively impact people's lives. Why will my name still be remembered decades after I'm gone? It's not because of the size of my fortune, but because of the concrete and lasting impact I had on the lives of millions through education and strategic philanthropy. Think about it now. What will your legacy be? How will you be remembered? If you want real, lasting wealth, you need to start taking action immediately to build a legacy that goes beyond money. Money should only be a tool for something much greater: real, lasting transformation in the society around you. And here's another essential revelation: the more you align your business and financial decisions with a clear purpose of positively impacting people's lives, the more wealth will flow to you. This is an indisputable universal law. Wealth always flows to those who use it wisely, generously, and strategically. Now is the decisive moment in your life. This is the moment when you need to understand, once and for all, that wealth and purpose not only can coexist, they must coexist. The truly wealthy man is the one who clearly understands that his fortune must be a force for human and social progress. Are you really ready to take this decisive step? If you have made this commitment with me, stay with me, because we still have much more to reveal. Said by ChatGPT, now that you have a deep understanding of the practical and strategic power of Psalm 112 for wealth liberation, let's dive even deeper into another fundamental element for ensuring your definitive financial transformation: continuing education. You may be wondering, what exactly is the connection between continuing education and the promise of wealth described in this powerful psalm? I will tell you with absolute clarity: the connection is direct, profound, and inevitable. Psalm 112 celebrates the righteous and wise man. And this is exactly where you need to direct your strategic focus right now. The wisdom that generates lasting wealth only comes through an absolute and permanent commitment to continuing education. Most people think that education ends in school, at university, or at some specific point in their professional life. Engrave this clearly in your mind. Learning can never stop. Continuing education is the master key to unlocking not only financial wealth, but also emotional and spiritual wealth. There is no investment more powerful and profitable than that made in your own knowledge and personal development. Look, throughout my life, my greatest fortune has not been companies, steel, or even the billions I have accumulated. My greatest fortune has been the knowledge and education I have obtained, largely through self-study, reading tirelessly and studying deeply the great thinkers of humanity. Now understand this: every book you read, every course you take, every mentor you follow, multiplies your ability to generate wealth exponentially. Every new piece of knowledge you acquire becomes a direct competitive advantage in business and in life. You simply cannot underestimate the importance of this. Psalm 112 clearly states that the righteous man remains forever. His righteousness, and wisdom are eternal. This is because knowledge and wisdom do not age, they do not become obsolete. On the contrary, the deeper and broader your knowledge, the greater your ability to adapt, to anticipate change, to identify opportunities that others simply do not see. Let me share something essential about my own journey. When I decided to invest heavily in my self-education, many of my contemporaries thought I was wasting my time and money. After all, I was already successful. But you see, my mind was focused on the long term, on creating a lasting empire. And I knew with absolute certainty that the only way to ensure that longevity was through the constant mastery of new knowledge. So, I dedicated significant time each day to reading and learning. There wasn't a single day that I didn't invest at least a few hours studying in depth, whether it was economics, philosophy, management, or industrial technology. This habit was absolutely fundamental to the steady growth of my businesses. Why? Because applied knowledge is real power. Today, I want you to adopt this transformative habit immediately, regardless of your age, financial condition, or current situation. Start right now with a daily commitment to continuing education. Set aside at least 1 hour a day to read, study, and learn something directly applicable to your financial and professional life. This simple commitment, if maintained with absolute discipline, will radically transform your financial reality in a very short period of time. But don't limit yourself to conventional or academic study. Expand your mind strategically. Seek knowledge that challenges you, that makes you think outside the box, that stimulates your creativity and innovation. When all my competitors were comfortable just producing steel, I was already studying logistics, technological innovation, industrial processes, and strategic management. The result? One mastered not only the steel industry, but the entire production chain, creating a legitimate monopoly through absolute operational efficiency. That is exactly what I want you to do now. If you have a business, immediately identify which strategic areas you need to master beyond your traditional sector. What knowledge and skills do you not yet have but urgently need to acquire? If you don't already have your own business, start right now to study in depth how to create, manage, and expand it. Learn from those who have already done it. Apply the knowledge you acquire immediately. Make mistakes quickly, learn quickly, and keep moving forward. Another crucial point about continuing education is that it allows you not only to anticipate crises, but to thrive in them. Look again at what the Psalm says. Light dawns for the righteous. Continuing education is exactly that light. When everyone around you is confused, lost, desperate in times of economic or social crisis, you will be calm, strategic, seeing opportunities where no one else can see them. Crises do not frighten wise men, they excite them. Crises are extraordinary, periods of expansion and multiplication of wealth, provided you are prepared with the right knowledge. During all the major economic crises I have faced, I have not only survived, I have prospered enormously. My continuing education allowed me to deeply understand the scenario, identify strategic opportunities, and act immediately with surgical precision. Understand something essential about this. Opportunity is only seen by trained eyes, by minds that are prepared and continuously educated. Don't wait until the crisis hits to start preparing. It will be too late. Start training your mind and your strategic eye right now. Learn to identify economic patterns, anticipate market changes, and analyze technological trends. The deeper your practical and applicable knowledge, the greater your ability to multiply wealth quickly. So join me right now in making this unwavering commitment to continuing education. There are no acceptable excuses. Your financial transformation depends directly on it. Be absolutely disciplined, consistent, and strategic. Choose right now which specific areas you will master in the coming months and years. Commit to it publicly, set dates, deadlines, and clear goals, and believe firmly in this. Every new piece of knowledge you acquire, will be a solid brick in the financial and personal empire you are building. An empire based on fairness, efficiency, strategic generosity, and practical wisdom. Now, stay with me, because there are even more powerful truths to be revealed on this definitive path to the liberation of your wealth. Now, that you have committed to continuing education, it is time to master another fundamental pillar of true wealth, choosing your allies and building teams of excellence. If you want to build something great, lasting, and truly profitable, you need to understand, once and for all, that alone you can go fast, but never far. Lasting wealth is always the result of strategic alliances with people who are better than you in specific areas. This is one of the most powerful truths I have learned throughout my life. The secret to my success has been to surround myself with men smarter than me. This is not humility in disguise. It is pure intelligence. No one builds an empire based solely on their own genius. You need to learn to identify extraordinary talent, form valuable alliances, and delegate with surgical precision. Let me be absolutely clear about this. The ability to hire, train, empower, and lead people of excellence is one of the most lucrative skills you can develop. It's the difference between a small business that survives and an empire that dominates entire markets. This skill is a wealth multiplier. Every great talent you attract and develop multiplies your capacity for execution, innovation, and growth. Consider what Psalm 112 declares. Their descendants will be powerful on earth. The generation of the righteous will be blessed. This isn't just talking about biological children. It's talking about the leaders you develop, the people you empower, the legacy of wisdom, competence, and character you pass on to those around you. You will be remembered and honored for the empire you left behind and the people you helped become great alongside you. I have always viewed every talented person as a precious gemstone. My role was to polish those stones. I did not hire out of sympathy, affinity, or friendship. I hired for excellence, for results, for commitment to greatness. And when I found someone truly extraordinary, I did everything I could to keep that person close. I offered not just a salary, but a purpose, a path for growth, a shared vision. If you want to build real wealth, you need to develop that same mindset. Immediately abandon any remnants of limited thinking that says, no one does it as well as I do. That's ego. That's fear. And above all, that's inefficiency. A true empire builder measures their greatness by the quality of the team they can build. But beware, excellence is not common. Extraordinary people are rare. That's why you need to become a magnet for talent. And how do you do that? By attracting them through your own excellence, your vision, your discipline, your integrity. Brilliant people only follow leaders who inspire trust and respect. If you want to attract the best, you need to become the best. You need to lead with clarity, with high standards, but also with fairness and purpose. Throughout my career, I have developed leaders who have gone on to become company presidents, fund managers, and powerful philanthropists. And do you know why? Because I was never afraid to delegate. I was never afraid to empower others. I knew that the more power I distributed wisely, the stronger and more secure my empire would be. I didn't want to be the busiest man in the room. I wanted to be the most strategic man. The one who sees further, who thinks about the big picture, who calls the shots. And you, where are you now in this process? Are you centralizing everything, controlling every little detail, stifling your own expansion? Or have you already started to build an army of excellence around you? An army that shares your values, your vision, and your hunger for results. You see, the righteous man in Psalm 112 is not just an accumulator of goods. He is a leader, a trainer of other leaders. He distributes, he rules with wisdom, he builds a dynasty. And here's an absolutely crucial point. Your real wealth will be measured not only by what you own, but by the number of leaders you have trained. The empires you have helped build, the lives you have transformed with your vision and influence. So, here's some straight advice from someone who built a steel empire and turned billions into educational institutions. Invest in people, but not just anyone. Invest in those who are hungry, disciplined, intelligent, and humble. Invest time to train, mentor, and correct. But when you realize someone isn't up to your vision, cut them loose early. Don't allow mediocrity to spread. Within your circle, be fair, but be firm. Don't be afraid to demand the most. Excellence is not negotiable. It is the minimum standard for those who want to master true wealth. And now, a powerful detail. True leadership is not imposed. It is earned. Everyone on your team needs to see in you not only authority, but consistency, emotional strength, and clarity of purpose. You need to be a living example of what you demand from others. There is no room for weak, insecure, indecisive leaders. The world belongs to the determined. Those who do not hesitate when faced with difficult decisions. Those who face problems with a constructive attitude. And if you are listening to this now, and thinking that maybe you are not yet that kind of leader, that's great. You are already way ahead of those who don't even ask themselves that question. Leadership is built. It is not a natural talent, it is a discipline. It is a daily decision to develop, test yourself, and overcome. Start now. Study the great leaders. Adopt their habits. Practice clarity, firm communication, and long-term vision. Build your team based on values, results, and uncompromising loyalty. Do you want to grow fast? Hire workers? Do you want to grow in a solid and lasting way? Train minds. This is the key that few understand, and that is why few build something that truly lasts. Remember, a true empire is not one that stands the test of time. It is one that continues to grow even after you are gone. And that only happens when you have trained other great leaders capable of continuing your mission with excellence. Stay with me. There are still more truths that will solidify your journey toward solid, indestructible wealth. Now subscribe to the channel and keep practicing all the knowledge that this liberating psalm has to offer.